86-year-old woman, and I live in an old people's home. There's not really that much to do in here. I've lost my sight as well as most of my mind. But when I am in my right mind, I spend most of my time thinking about mind. Well, the war mostly. It might sound strange, but that was the best time of my life. It's when I met my Jack, my husband. We had a great life together, and he was one of the best husbands I could have hoped for. We got married during the war. I was working in an arms factory at the time. And when everyone in the factory heard that I was getting married to Jack, because he was one of the engineers there, everyone started saving up their ration coupons, so I could have, you know, a proper wedding. So, I got a bit of butter, so I made a wedding cake. I got some material, so I made my wedding dress, and there was even a bit left over for a bit of meat, and I had a bit of a do afterwards. I had a son and a daughter, and my daughter had 3 children. And that's where this story starts, really, with me, doing a project based on my grandpa's life. Now, I don't really know why I made that decision, or I didn't, and I didn't really know what kind of performance I wanted to do. So I set off around London, having tea with as many people as possible, in the hope that it might all become clear to me. And just so we're all clear, I'm still in the middle of that process. So the first stop was Green Park. Now, despite all my worries about the tea being the wrong strength and the fact that we were all drinking out of beakers because I couldn't carry china around with me, I actually had a really lovely day and managed to get 6 people to have tea with me. So I drank 6 cups of tea in total. People seemed really enthusiastic about the project, which kind of surprised me. So here are all the people from Green Park. Now, I bet you're all wondering why I actually drink a cup of tea with everybody that I sit with, because it's a lot of tea to drink. Now, at first, it was because I wanted people to feel comfortable with me. People can be a little bit suspicious, and I knew somebody was offering me tea. My first thought was that it might poison me. So I thought, if I'm drinking the tea myself, then perhaps people will trust me a little bit more. And after that, after a while, I found that people really didn't have trust issues. It was more to do with the fact that I think it's polite if you're inviting someone to have tea with you, to actually drink the tea yourself. Now, you know, there is actually a certain way to serve tea, and in fact, there's a certain way to serve. I know this because I used to work in a really posh hotel called the Victoria. I used to work as a dinner lady during the day, and on the evening, serving all the kiddies their dinner, and then on the evening, I'd go to this posh hotel and serve all the rich men their dinner, which there is a bit of a difference. Okay, last one. Eventually became the head waitress in the Victoria, and I was allowed to serve on the top table. You serve from the left and you take away from the right. That's the proper way to do it. And on the top table you get the best tips, but those men were feisty. And if you weren't watching yourself, you'd be pinching your bottom as you were taking away from the right. Now, I used to tease them a little to get them back and try and get them to stop. And I used to tell them that I'd be finding their lies in the hotel and telling them exactly what they were getting up to away from home, which, believe you me, put a stop to all this. Now, because I worked there, when my daughter got married, I actually got a discount at the Victoria. They got married and got a discount with the reception there. And I got waited on hand and foot, just like I was one of those posh men working there. Now, these two lads here, I don't know if you can see them, when I was having tea in Green Park, were designers. And they commented a lot, well, analysed, actually, my sign that I had in the park inviting to have tea with me. Now, their analysis was that it was a very friendly font and very eye-catching, but they did notice that the I and the L were the wrong way around. They should have been the other way around. And they wanted to know if I, in fact, was a designer. No, unfortunately not. I'm not a designer. I'm a dinner lady, a head waitress, and a theatre practitioner. My housemate lovingly handcrafted a sign for me. They were then impressed with her. So after my first tea day, I discovered that people really actually like to talk about relationships, theirs, other people's, members of their family. And this is a theme that's kind of cropped up throughout my tea journey. And I suppose I can understand why, in a way. As a 60-year-old unmarried man myself, some relationships are something that I often think about. It's something that just never happened for me. I don't know why. I'm really close to my mother. I do live on my own now, but I stop and spend every Christmas with her. I had to have like a heart valve replacement thing about 3 years ago. There wasn't anyone to look after me at home, so I stopped with my mum then, and she looked after me. They found another leak recently, which means I'll probably have to have another operation. I won't really be able to travel to London so much then. I could show you my scarf from the last one if you want then. So, after finding out in Green Park that people did actually want to stop and talk to me, I also gave Soho Square and Wimbledon a go. And I managed to get another 2 tea takers in each Soho Square and Wimbledon, so it's 4 altogether. This was gentleman Soho Square, this was this one. This gentleman here just wanted to make me laugh. I've got an abundance of jokes and dating tips, actually. This lady here was from Wimbledon. Now, this one here, I didn't actually have tea with a little boy, by the way. I did have tea with his mother. We all know. But his mum had cancer, and she was wearing a wig and it affected her face, so she didn't want her photo taken, but she wanted the fact that we'd been having tea, actually documenting, so she let me take her beautiful little son, who was just really riot the whole time we weren't having tea. So, I had much longer, like more in-depth conversations with these people, these 4. And it was good for the project to have really in-depth conversations with people. I really enjoyed it. But the thing was, it was kind of sad, some of the stories. People really actually began to open up to me. And the phrase tea and sympathy is there for a reason. And by the end of Wimbledon, which is one of the last teas I've done, I began to see that people were giving me monologues, stories about themselves, which was great. I really enjoyed it. It was something that I hadn't expected to happen when I set out on my tea journey. The fact that people would want to give me monologues on themselves or stories about themselves. And it was really interesting to me, observing other customs and other cultures. And what I find most interesting about the youth of today is that they don't go to church. Not that I can blame them, they're not encouraged to, but in my country, now there's a distant memory. And these are all the things that I think of while I sit in my home, of all the people that I've met, and all the stories I've seen and heard, and exactly how much tea have I drunk in my life, and where's my tea journey going next. I don't really tell my own stories anymore because I've forgotten them, or they merge into one. So I guess I need somebody else to tell them for me.